one important requirement for a project manager is to complete the project on time. In this lecture, I want to talk about how to perform a project time management. It's very important to have a project time management plan before we start a project. In order to create such a plan, we need to perform the following activities. First, we need to identify what activities we need to conduct in a project management process. Second, we need to identify the sequence between activities in a project. Third, we need to estimate the duration of each activity. After we receive these three information, we can combine them together and then create a project time schedule. Let's talk about the three major activities in a project time management. First, we need to identify the specific activities in a project. We need to look at the documents generated from a scope management. What is the most important document from a project scope management? Yes, it should be the work breakdown structure or the WBS chart. In that chart, we identified the activities we need to take in order to accomplish the project goal. After we identify the specific activities we need to take, the next step is to figure out the sequence between two activities in a project. We have four types of sequences between two activities. First, finish to start sequence. This sequence shows that the second activity will not start until we finish the first activity. This is probably one of the most common sequences in practice. We usually complete the first activity first, and then we start the next activity. Second, finish to finish. This sequence shows that the second activity will not be finished until we finish the first activity. Some classmates may have a question. Do we have this kind of sequence in practice? Yes, we do. You can find this sequence frequently in the service industry. For instance, the job for a chef in the back kitchen will not be finished until a waiter has ordered everything for a customer in a restaurant. This is a typical example of the finish to finish sequence. Third, we have the start to start sequence. This sequence shows that the second activity will not start until the first activity starts. Lastly, we have the start to finish sequence. This sequence shows that the second activity will not finish until we start the first activity. Please pay attention to the short symbols after each sequence. We need to remember those short symbols like FS, FF, SS, and SF because we need to use them when we create a time schedule for a project management. We need to remember which sequence each symbol represents when we create a schedule for a project. Another factor we need to look at is the dependency between two activities. There are three types of dependencies: mandatory dependency, discretionary dependency, and external dependency. If a mandatory dependency exists between two activities, then the start and finish order between the two activities must follow one of the sequential relationships we just talked about. There is no other way to start or finish the first activity and the second activity. If there is a discretionary dependency between two activities, this dependency is just preferred, it's not required. If there is an external dependency between two activities, that means the start and finish order between the two activities will be influenced by external factors. Another important concept is the lead and the lag. A lead refers to the time received when we completing the first activity. Let's say we plan to finish the first activity in 7 days, but we actually used 5 days to complete the first activity. Then we will have a 2-day lead after the first activity. Second, a lag. A lag is a delay when we complete the first activity. If we plan to complete the first activity in 7 days, but we actually used 10 days, then we will have a 3-day lag when we complete the first activity. When we design a project schedule, we also need to estimate the duration of each activity in our project. Basically, we want to figure out how long each activity will last. There are several ways for you to estimate the durations of activities. First, you can invite a panel of experts to perform an estimation for you. Second, you can use something called analogous estimation. You want to compare your current project to the previous project, and then you use how long the activities in the previous project to estimate the durations of the current project. The third method is called parametric estimation. You want to look at the historical data and use statistical analysis method to estimate the durations of the current project. For instance, if you want to develop a mobile app, you want to look at the previous 10 mobile app projects and then find out how long each development process lasts, and then you use the average of the 10 development periods as the estimation for the duration of the current development. The last one is called 3-point estimation. When you use this method, you want to split the future into 3 possible scenarios: optimistic scenario, most likely scenario, and pessimistic scenario. And then you estimate the duration of the activity in each scenario. Then you want to average the estimated durations in the 3 possible scenarios. That will be your estimated duration for your current project. After we figure out the project activities, sequences between activities, and the durations of activities, we are ready to create a project schedule. There are several types of schedule charts. In this class, I want to introduce the project schedule network diagram to everyone. In the future, when I mention this diagram, sometimes I will use a short term, PSND, to refer to it. There are several advantages of PSND. First, it's very intuitive for team members to figure out what activities are involved in our project, which activity should take place first, what should be the next task. Second, PSND is very easy to implement. You don't need a fancy software like Microsoft Project or other project management software. You can easily implement this diagram on a paper, on a whiteboard, and so on. When we draw a PSND diagram, we always want to draw the starting point and the ending point first. Between the 2 points, we need to list all activities involved in a project. Where can we find the activities? We need to look at the work breakdown structure. We need to draw all activities listed in the WBS chart in the PSND diagram. Each box in the PSND diagram represents a particular activity listed in the WBS chart. Then we want to use arrows to connect the boxes. In other words, we use arrows to connect the activities. On each arrow, we use the symbol we learned at the beginning of this lecture to indicate the type of sequence exists between 2 activities. Between box B and box C, there is a SS. This means a start-to-start sequence exists between activity B and activity C. Let's see another example. Between H and I, there is a SS as well. This also shows a start-to-start sequence exists between h and I. Also notice that after SS between h and I, we have a plus 10. That means the project manager predicts that there could be a 10-day delay between activity H and activity I. In the future, if you believe there could be some delay between two activities, you also do the same. You write down the plus sign to show there is a delay, and then write down the number to show how long the delay will be. What if we have a lead? We use a minus sign, and then we write down the number to show how many days the lead will be. After this lecture, I want everyone to work on an exercise. I want you to practice drawing a PSND diagram. At the end of this PowerPoint, you will find the answer. But please don't look at the answer first. Try it on your own first, and then look at if you can draw a correct PSND diagram.